retaliation for the loss of 300 cows. He went further to say that, to give the impression that perhaps, you know, herdsmen were pressed because in spite of their best efforts, the cows have disappeared. Even when the army went after cattle rustlers, they weren't successful, and apart from that, they were shot at. He also accused the communities of hiding the cattle rustlers. Long story short, if this continues, nobody can expect peace in Plateau, Mr. Chiroma had said. Well, the president has commented and has said that politicians are taking undue advantage of the situation with an eye on the 2019 presidential elections. My guest this morning, Dr. Luke Onyekekeya, who's of the editorial board of the Guardian newspaper. Thank you very much for coming on, Luke.
Thank you. Good morning.
My pleasure to have you. And Mr. Kabir Akingbolu, he's a lawyer and public affairs analyst.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
Indeed. Our pleasure to have you. Starting from the, I don't know, it has to be official. If the president spoke, then you can at least begin to get a sense of the official perspective, even though it wasn't released as a public notice in particular. But still, the president has spoken, and he has said that this tragedy, he blames politicians who, quite frankly, have hijacked the situation, and it's with a view to gaining political advantage in 2019. I know we're not starting at the beginning, but can you make sense of that statement?
Thank you very much. I want to start by saying that we are back to square one, because a few months ago, I was here, and we were talking about massacre in Benue. You know, we thought maybe that would be the first and the last, but it is not. Now, the same thing has occurred in Plateau State. And so, whether it is done in Benue or in Plateau or Southern Kaduna or any other place, there is always the need to find who is behind these massacres. That's the crux of the matter. Who is perpetrating these acts? So, for the president to come and, you know, say politicians are behind these killings and the rest of them, you know, ordinarily we ought to take it very, very seriously, because that is coming from the president himself, who is supposed to know a lot of things many of us don't know, you know. So we ought to take it as an official position. Then if that is the official position, politicians are human beings. They are not spirits. They are people who are existing. Then that source through which the president got the information that politicians are behind this should also be ready to provide or give the names of the politicians. Because otherwise we will be chasing the wind. And if we are chasing the wind, we are not going anywhere. The problem will continue. So that is one.
Although, to be strictly accurate, the headlines say that the president is actually, you know, saying that politicians are not necessarily behind the matter, but are taking advantage. I wonder if there's a difference. I'm just trying to be strictly accurate in what the president said. That politicians are taking advantage of this sad affair.
Yeah, if somebody is taking advantage of something, then he is persecuting or
complicit.
He's complicit in something. He is perpetrating an act, a criminal act, and the result is what we are seeing.
Okay.
Let us not dwell on the semantics of it.
Okay, but I want to do so a bit with Kabir, just a little bit, especially as he's a lawyer, and they will split hairs where necessary. Is there a difference between the president blaming politicians for this, and the president saying, as has been reported, that they were taking advantage. They were taking advantage of the farmer headman crisis.
Well, speaking for myself, I think it's mere semantics. It means one and the same thing. Because if they are taking advantage of something, it means they have participated, or they have one way or the other incited or caused some things to happen in respect of the issue at stake. And here, I think we should be more serious. We should take the life, we should place more premium on the life of citizens. And now, if we are talking that we don't know who is behind this killing, I think we don't need to go far. Now, you may be looking for facts, you may be looking for evidence, you may be looking for some other things to link, but now, somebody has come out to say something about it. That is probably whether it's a retaliation or whether cow has got missing or has got lost or they have been slaughtered or something.
No, it has been clearly stated as a retaliation by someone who should know, Mr. Danladi Chiroma, Chair, North Central Zone of Meyati Allah.
Now, if somebody has said that, a serious government, any reasonable person who we expect that a serious government will do something about it. How many, has anyone of the Meyati Allah been invited? What about the spokesperson? They have president, they have chairman, they have secretary, they have this, they have that. Now, they should invite these people. Okay, what are the causes of this? Since you have said it, it means somebody who said it's a retaliation, for whatever reason, must have known one or two persons who has perpetrated this act. So we should stop blaming blame. And again, let us go to the issue of the president, saying that politicians are taking advantage of this. Now, you are the president. People are interested in success. People are interested in ensuring security. They are not interested in a blaming game. Now, the president has spent 3 years blaming past governments. Now, what have we done about security? Despite the huge amount of money that have been allocated to this sector, every year in, year out, you roll out figures. Now, what have you done with the security? The president must be more serious with fighting this thing, rather than taking blame on politicians. If you know the politician, get them arrested. Nobody should be above the law. The Meyati Allah Association, I think, have been pampered too much, and Nigerians should talk. Because now, let us forget about who is killed, whether it's Biron, whether it's Yoruba man, whether it's Ekiti Hausa. A life is a life. Every citizen of Nigeria matters to the president. And, this is the issue.
And though people will see this differently depending on what side of the divide you are on, most people are shocked that the lives of 300 cows is somehow being, that have been lost, killed. They said up to 80-something killed. So many have been rustled. We don't even know where they are. But that 300 cows would seem to be some justification for this act, which, let us say it, is, at the end of the day, it's all about a particular way of life that people who are outside of Fulani herdsmen cannot possibly comprehend. But one understands that, look, okay, it's a difficult situation. Anthropologists, sociologists will probably be able to understand it better, how an inordinate value is placed on some things that we think are, yes, it's valuable, but it's not a human life. That's not the way this is being seen. Do you think this is at the crux of a problem? Are different worldviews that will enable someone to say, I lost a car, I'm going to kill you?
I think something is wrong with Nigeria. I think there is a problem. Why am I saying this? The Fulani are not found only in Nigeria. They are across the Sahel of Africa.
Of course.
I lived in Kenya. I worked in Kenya. There are herdsmen there. And cattle rustling is a problem there in Kenya. We have not heard that because cattle was stolen, then villagers are massacred in northern Kenya. There could be clashes. But what is happening here shows there is something many of us don't know. That's my own analysis. That's my own thinking. Otherwise, why are the Fulani herdsmen in Nigeria, why are they, acting or, coming out the way they are doing, different from Fulani, say, in Mali, in Senegal, in other parts of Sahel Africa.
You know, there have been attempts to sort of indicate that, look, these are not necessarily Nigerians. As you just said,
Yes.
Fulanis exist up and down the coast, West African coast, and I think there has been some effort to try and deflect away from Nigerian Fulanis.
Even if it's not Nigerian Fulanis, who gave these people the chance? Why are other Fulanis from neighboring countries being allowed to come here and perpetrate? Why are Nigerian Fulanis not allowed into Mali or Senegal to go and perpetrate a crime there and live? So this is why I think there is a problem, and we need to try to find out that problem. And I believe the authorities know what the problem is.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I would imagine so. But it's complicated here, I think, by the fact that quite a number of people seem to think that government is wearing kid gloves in handling this particular situation. There are those who are seeing it as, look, it's maybe the time has come to stop looking at this as some sort of a cultural, matter. It's a criminal matter. It's wanton. It's terrorism, and those are not the kind of words that government is engaging with.
Well,
the president has said, for instance, in addition to what he has said about politicians taking advantage of this situation, that people should not take the laws into their own hands. People are being killed.
The issue is this, like, let me see, I will start from where Mr. Luke ended. Dr. Luke ended. The issue is this, I think there are more to this issue of herdsmen and the killings. One way or the other, we must begin to do some investigations. This is where the responsibility of government comes in.
Maybe that's where the president now said that politicians are taking advantage of the situation.
You see,
if there's more to it than seems to meet the eye.
Very well, sir. That is the truth. Every reasonable man we know. From time immemorial, herdsmen have been part of us in Ekiti, in Lagos, in Borno, in Maiduguri, in Kaduna, everywhere in Nigeria. There has not been all this kind of thing. There had never been all this kind of things. Then suddenly, they turn to murderers, they turn to kidnappers, they turn to armed robbers, they turn to bandits and murderers. And we are still looking at it. And the president, just like he suggested in many countries, and I believe too, is treating them with kid gloves. Deal with them, treat them as criminals, not herdsmen. I think it's euphemism. It's highly euphemistic to be saying they are killers. And we must do something about this. And the earlier we appreciate this fact, the better. And again,
do you think the president might be somewhere between a rock and a hard place? He is the grand patron of Mayati Allah in Nigeria. It's an honorary position, and maybe the president is trying to be fair or not come down on one side. I don't know.
He does not have such right as the president of Nigeria. He's the president of everybody. And you must maintain balance and equity, fairness, and justice. And the only way you can do it, one of the duties of a president, first of all, is to provide security for life and properties. That is the first duty, and in return, the citizen will obey the law. You can't just come and see some people are being pampered, you go to some other part of the country, you declare them terrorists and all that, and you are not saying something. There's no how.
By the way, just in case there are foreigners, because as you know, TVC goes out all over the place, all over the globe. Mayati Allah is like a cattle rearers association. The president has a number of head of cattle.
Well,
because of that, and because he's the president, I think therefore they bestow that honor on him. Now, what Mayati Allah is fast becoming in the eyes of many other Nigerians is not really a cattle rearer, kind of an organization.
I didn't want to say this before, but I will say it. Sometimes in 2005, 2006, I was a lawyer to Mayati Allah Cattle Rearer Association of Nigeria in Yobe State.
Oh, okay.
You understand?
What was the case?
Then, I was on international with my principal then. But then what we are saying then, we do a lot of, we have not seen them, they didn't kill them, they were not killing. All of a sudden, they have become terrorists. So anytime I read the newspaper, I get sad. Because these are the people
used to be my clients. I know them.
That I know so well. And with my relationship with them in Yobe, I am so well, close to them in Borno, Maiduguri and all those Goza that have become a war ravaged zone then. Now, it's not so. We go there, down there and all that. Goza is a boundary town. Within 20, 30 minutes, if you climb a mountain, you enter Cameroon. Now, I think again, security issue comes to play here. The president must strengthen our security. They must do a lot of things. But the military or whoever, they have been overwhelmed. When there is a Mieti Aladisi, we call on the military. When there is Boko Haram, we call on them. When it's social unrest, we call on them. When kidnapping activity is getting out, we call on them. And we are not increasing the number of these things. And a lot of them are security personnel.
You know, Mr. Kimbolu, when you just said that back in the day, you know, and your principal used to be counsel for Mieti Allah.
Yes.
Somehow, between then and now, there's been a transition where their staffs have now been exchanged for AK-47s.
Exactly.
And all of this is going on. Perhaps the echo comes back of the president's utterance again, alleged utterance, that politicians are taking advantage of this situation. Because it goes back to what he said, that I know this well, you know, we had a professional relationship with these people. And there's no way any self-respecting organization or chambers is going to be representing terrorists, you know, out of that. So something is going on and we're not ready to confront it. The whole kid gloves question, do you think it is a fair comment against the presidency, that kid gloves are, you know, comment?
In a way, I think everybody has said it, or many people have said it, that the authorities are not doing much to deal with this insecurity situation.
Then the next question is why?
That's the question.
Why?
That's the question. Why are the authorities not doing much? Now, maybe let me give you a kind of background. You know, these herdsmen-farmers clashes, to the best of my knowledge, started in Plateau State. I was a student at University of Jos in 1984-85 when I was doing my postgraduate and master's in environmental management. And that program enabled me to do research on the Jos Plateau. There are over 1,000 artificial lakes in that place, caused by tin mining over 100 years. So, when the killing started, some people were saying that it was a Christian-Muslim issue. That was the initial perception of people. Now, from my research, because I had direct contact with the Bureau, I went into the farms. In fact, all the carrots, cabbage, vegetables, it is in those areas that they are producing it. You see very large hectares of, you know, just tomatoes and onions and the rest of them. So there are people that are farming, that are feeding the country. Now, what's the problem? My research showed that the major problem there was, or is, land inadequacy. Mm-hmm. The land, first and foremost, the plateau is a rugged terrain. It's not a flat surface. Now, that little land, then tin mining came and devastated it. The people who did the tin mining, like what they are doing in the Niger Delta, normally, when you mine tin, after collecting the tin, you fill back the earth and cover the place. But that is not what they did in Jos Plateau. The tin miners, over the years, just extracted the tin and left wide gashes everywhere. Over 1,000 mine legs on the Jos Plateau. So that now reduced the amount of land. Then the next thing I found out is that the Fulani, or the Northerners, the Fulani herdsmen that are there, they didn't come there today. They came there as far back as it's late 17th, 18th century. They have been there over the...
And have been coexisting.
They have been coexisting. That's the point. They have been coexisting. And so, then suddenly, like my colleague has said, suddenly, these people that were living together, they started becoming enemies. Killings, clashes started, and then we thought it was a joke. Now the thing has escalated and spread to other states. Now, this problem didn't start today. We have been having governments. It's not the Buhari. In that 85, 84, 85 period I was in Jos, it was I think it was a military government. This same Buhari, yes, because I was there when there was a coup, and then Buhari took over. So it's the same Buhari government that was in position that time. So that government came, another one came, military, another one came, military, another one came. So there have been series of governments, and this problem has been there. So no government has taken time to deal with these things squarely and stop it. It is stoppable.
But what it is stoppable because nothing is impossible.
Yes.
But the way the host communities see it is that they are being overrun, and we have to coexist, and every Nigerian has a right to exist peacefully anywhere in the country. Yes. Resentments, to be overly simplistic about the matter, would appear to have spun out of control. So how do we go about it, especially when we have this totally way out attitude of 300 lost cows can result in the death of so many people. And the accusations that the people who are rustling their cattle are being hidden by the host communities, and there will be no peace if this continues. It's almost like no regret, especially with this difficult assertion that, hear ye this, those killings were retaliation.
Well, you see, the issue here is this, you just see a set of people that have become so lawless. Because, for instance, when your 300 cows got missing or has been killed or something, we have police everywhere. You could report, let there be it will be incidented, there will be investigations and so on and so forth.
You know, one of the things that I'm reading in the papers is that Mr. Chiroma, speaking at the chair for the North Central Zone of Miyetti Allah, was saying that advising the authorities, an investigation panel, to not ignore reports coming from Miyetti Allah, thereby indicating that perhaps there might have been this kind of a thing in the past, that if there's going to be peace, you've got to hear all of us. And I think there is some insinuation that Miyetti Allah seems to be dismissed out of hand when these reports are made, and that people believe who they want to believe. Just for the sake of completeness, adding that detail.
Yeah, if that is so, it's unfortunate. And it also points to the fact of the problem with our country. And again, I want to say, for God's sake, why should people continue to kill in the name of somebody has harmed your cow? An animal remains an animal, whatever it is, even if it's a donkey or whatever.
Which is the way all of us see it. But apparently there's a much closer connection between the Fulani and his cattle.
No, let me tell you, I was also privileged that my first principal as a lawyer is a Fulani man.
Okay.
And I know the premium placed on cow. I mean, now, every Fulani man, wherever you are, you will have a cow. Even if you are in Lagos, your family will be rearing cow for you in your village. Everybody. You can see when the president was declaring his asset, he declared 500 and something head of cows. You understand? It is very important, and they have a lot of close connection with it.
Yes.
But then, it doesn't make them.
And it has always been the source of wealth.
It has always been
going back to historical times.
Yes, it has been the source of wealth for them. But then we should play, because both Christianity, Islam, and even the traditional religion place a lot of premium on one, like no religion allows for people to be killed. Then, and you must be, they are situated in one of these three religions. Then why are you killing? If you have issues, continue to shout. They said if you shout outside enough, if you continue and continue, somebody must hear you from inside and open the door for you. If they continue to pursue their grievances in a peaceful way, it doesn't mean that they will not be heard. One day they will be heard. But then the government of the day should do a lot of things about this. Go swing to action. If you find the community, the host community culpable, arrest some people. And that one will placate the Fulani people. If the Fulani people have offended the DC, arrest some Fulani people, question them, subject them to some interrogation, you get facts. But when these are not done, then what are we expecting?
Thank you very much, Kabir, because what you're saying is so logical. And Luke was explaining how government upon government upon government has passed. And this problem has been where it is. Maybe the question is, Why is that situation so? Now, let me link it to what was said about the nature of the Fulani man. No matter how urban he becomes, no matter how cosmopolitan he becomes, so it is said, he's not going to be far from his cattle. Even if he doesn't have a hands-on approach himself,
Well, yes.
part of his investment by way of savings, that kind of a thing, you know, it's not alien to them. They probably will have cattle. Now, there are so many, you know, politicians that might not have stepped in a ranch before that have the wealth, and we're hearing that this is their cultural heritage. They will have cattle. Now, maybe there's some nexus in there for the president's assertion that politicians are taking advantage of this situation. Now, I don't know which politicians, because there are Yoruba politicians, there are Igbo politicians, there are TV politicians, there are Fulani politicians. So which politicians?
You see, I have said here earlier, I said pointing, accusing finger on politicians, for me, in a way, is vague. It's vague. And then, politicians, or you know, the presidency or the Garba Shehu who said what the president said. He said the target is a 2019 election. This is not the first election we're having. Then this killing has been going on, like I said. It didn't start now. If suddenly killing starts and there's an election coming up in the next couple of months, then we can attribute it to this kind of thing. But in 2014, there was killing. 2012, there was killing. 2015, there was killing going on. So is it the same thing we're talking about?
Are we,
So
do you think we're approaching this whole thing with sincerity and transparency?
That's the thing. I think what the president, the reason the presidency is giving, is even conflicting with what the Miyetti Allah
Themselves are saying.
Because the question we're asking is, who is behind these killings? The presidency say is politicians. Miyetti Allah say is them. They retaliated as a result of their cows that were stolen or killed. So is it not confusion that is
indeed
being played to the public?
Luke, I seem to recall that you and I were on a program together, and we had a Fulani gentleman in the studio who explained that Fulani is one. It doesn't matter where he is at. Whether it's in Nigeria, in Mali, Ghana, wherever, they're all one. And an offense done to one can be redressed by another that was not even remotely offended. But nevertheless, because of that that tie, we were all incredulous. You know, we were almost mouth agape when he said do you people want to hear the real facts of this whole matter? So it's like he was telling us how complex a problem it is, and how, quite frankly, you can end up in a situation of the more you look, the less you will be seeing. It was almost, he didn't quite go there, but he was explaining the situation and the complexity that perhaps non-Fulanis or other Nigerians might not understand.
Yes, but the question I'm asking is, why is this thing playing out only in Nigeria? Why is this killing playing out only in Nigeria?
Okay, let's go on a break on that. Maybe we'll get a bit of help from home, you know, because the panel always extends to the home. Okay. So I'm sure people, you know, they got their fingers on their keypads, they're going to call in. We'll go to a break now, but we'll be right back, and then we'll take your calls as well. Okay, welcome back. And so we're having this difficult conversation, it must be said, because of the hordes of people that are being killed in this latest incident. The police are saying, yes, we know about 80-something, but you know, people have said that more than 300, and this is against the backdrop of 300 cows going missing, some killed, and Miyetti Allah has actually spoken through its chair, the North Central Zone, Mr. Danladi Chiroma, saying that these are retaliation attacks. And we're looking at why this problem has been lingering through the governments. Also, the matter of kid gloves, the allegation that government is being, you know, quite soft with these whole people. In the 80s, when President Buhari was a military commander, he took out Maitisine. He killed it dead once and for all. When IPOB, when the whole IPOB was going to become a nuisance, the government addressed it with decisiveness, and we don't hear very much about that. They are making great advances against Boko Haram. But this whole matter of cattle, innocent cattle rearers, you have the stereotypical image of a cattle rearer and his staff, and now these have been exchanged for AK-47s, and somehow we don't know why things are going on the way they're going on. This is one of the problems we have. Why could we not have, why can this not be dealt with as decisively as IPOB was dealt with, for example?
Well, I think the government of the day has not made up its mind to really go out and fight these people. And again, we must also understand one thing. You cannot solve a problem until you have known the cause or the causes, whether remotely or otherwise. Now, we should go behind the surface and look through and know or try to fish out what is the issue in this, what is causing all these things, or what are the things causing it. Now, if we have been able to know the problem or the causes of the problem, then we can track it down. And again, like
we spent all these decades, and all the researchers, all the experts have not been able to arrive at a conclusion that this is the nature of the problem.
The issue is this: even if you come at the conclusion and the government is not ready to fight it, you are not going to anywhere. Now,
so why would the government not be ready to fight terrorists?
IPOB was becoming a nuisance.
Okay.
And decisively, the government went in within 3 weeks, 4 weeks, they have rooted them out. You can really have them now talking. You understand? That one has become more or less a past history. Though it may still resurface if it is not, but as at now, we don't even know where the leader of IPOB is. Now, what is the issue with Miyetti Allah? And people are saying whether it's because the president is a full animal or there and that. But then, let us look at all these things. Let the president be serious and do something about all these things. Let it be that Miyetti Allah will be engaged in dialogue. Let it be that they will be asked some questions. What are your grievances? What are the DC? What is the remote causes? What are the remote causes? And what are the immediate causes? And what can we do to assist you or to help you? Now, the issue of cattle colony, I think we should also discuss about it, whether cattle colony or ranches. But I have been saying that we Nigerians too, sometimes we are not sincere. If government has said that, okay, cattle colony or ranches will be a way to solve this thing, I don't see anything. My father's house in the village, government can come today and say, we are taking over this your house, and nothing will happen. Now, everybody is saying, don't come here, we don't have a land. Now, and I've been asking that instead of having cattle ranches or colonies, a matter of nomenclature, as far as I am concerned, it's mere semantics. It means the same thing. Whether having cattle ranches or colony without people being killed, which one is better? Having ground colony and ranches without people being killed, and not having cattle colony and ranches and people are killed every day.
Okay, one moment. Issues okay, Reverend Dominic, good morning.
Good morning, Chief Yori. How are you?
Good morning, sir. Thank you very much.
Good morning, Dr. Luke, and good morning, the lawyer in the house.
Thank you very much.
Good morning.
Yori, this issue have become hopeless and helpless. Why did I say that? The first time it was the mercenaries of Muammar Gaddafi, who was killed, that came into Nigeria. Last 2 weeks, the security advisor who's supposed to rely on intelligence say it is grazing law that caused trouble. Yesterday, it is the politicians. Doesn't it look hopeless? And the people are dying every day. Let me say this simple thing. I'm involved in this government. I helped to recreate the image of Buhari in the church I pastor. But this issue has been going wrong all through, where we cannot, address issues promptly. If somebody dies in the church and you call me Reverend Dominic, why do people die in church? I say it's retaliation. The next question is that, Reverend Dominic, who retaliated who? Why do you retaliate? Or why do people retaliate? Someone has told us who killed people in Plateau State. We are still talking here what happened. Someone told us they killed our 300 cows. We retaliated. Simple thing is, come, sir. And not every time we are arrestable. Come, please. Tell us who retaliated so we can know how to stop it the next time. And we're saying politicians, we're saying Muammar Gaddafi, we're saying grazing law. doesn't it look hopeless? Let me say this. The last election was lost and won by security issues. You remember? About Chibok girls. This election also will be won at the loss by security issues. We're not addressing issues promptly. I'm crying here. How do we kill our people every day? And we're having governance. How do people die every day in Nigeria? Is the Nigeria only nation that have cattle? I'll find someone say, declare herdsmen as terrorists. If you declare herdsmen as terrorists, are we going to buy eating cows in Nigeria? This what happened yesterday in your studio when somebody said they banned 3 cycles in Imo State because of stealing. They used to steal. But every kidnapping that happened here, we use vehicle to carry our victims. Do we buy motor cars in Nigeria because people are using to kidnap? This is way of approach.
Okay.
There's a one person that have killed here, or some people have killed here. Is this cattle raiders? We should call them to table and know how to solve this bloodletting. Or else the government is confused. Politicians today, Mama Gaddafi tomorrow, just to show a confused government.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, Reverend Dominic. Thank you very much for calling in. The frustration he seems to, evince in speaking there, it's with many. I don't know how fair it is to say that government doesn't seem to have a grip of this. It's engaging meaningfully with Boko Haram, it did so with IPOB, so it can do it. But for some reason, this is not treated in the same light. And how many need to be killed before we say, wait a minute, we have to go beyond the homily of, please, nobody should take the law into their own hands, which is what essentially has come out of the presidency.
If you recall, when the Chibok girls were abducted, 2014, there was outrage across the world. In the United States, for instance, they were talking about that the Nigerian government is not doing anything. It was John McCain, Senator John McCain. He said, what are you talking about? That there's no government in Nigeria. He said that in 2014. He said, it's as a result of that because ordinarily a sensible person, the people could not understand how abductors came into a school and abducted over 200 students. And there was no intervention of any sort. And they took them clean and left. Then after that, the reaction of government was dull. There was, even the government was doubting it, and so on. It took, some days, weeks before, government came to grip
to even affirm that,
yes, and even when it did, it set up a panel to investigate whether it is true. So while all those things were going on, these girls were being held somewhere. Okay. Now, it's still the same problem. I think it's still the same problem. I find it difficult to, say that a government in power that has all the power, all the military, all the security, all the intelligence, everything to unravel any situation, is guessing what could be behind all the killing, like the speaker, the caller said. The other day they say it was cattle grazing law. The other day, next is Muammar Gaddafi, people who came from. The other day it is people who came from across the border. Today it is politicians.
It's confusing.
Another person is saying it's retaliation.
It's retaliation.
Which means we don't know what is our problem.
Felix in Makurdi, Benue State, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for calling in. Go ahead, please.
This one is on the program.
Good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you.
Hello?
Go ahead, please. Good morning, Felix.
Morning. I would like to chip in here.
Sure.
The issue of farmers' health and crisis in Nigeria. If federal government wants to end this thing, the government will quickly, because the leadership of Allah, when the anti-open grazing law was signed law in Benue State, they came up openly saying we resist it, and they did, and nothing is done. This crisis was before the anti-open grazing law. It was done in order to prevent the crisis. So unless the government orders the immediate arrest of the leadership of Nigeria, this will not be solved. And we are looking at Mr. President as the president of the Fulani, not of Nigeria. Because if he were the president of Nigeria, we have been...
Well, Felix, I don't know if that particular statement was called for.
Thank you, and God bless Nigeria.
Well, thank you too, but that statement, we dissociate ourselves from it. But
sure.
You know, so now and again, we do say to our callers, please be circumspect. You can't just say anything you want on air, and certainly not that kind of a statement. But you know, so maybe it's part of the frustration that we're talking about.
Part of frustration,
exactly.
Anger.
Yeah.
You know, because as the Miyetti Allah man said, the
yes, Mr.
Chiroma, he said their cattle got lost and they have not found it. How can there be peace in the area?
Yes.
Which means what we are seeing today may be the one that is coming in future.
Maybe the precursor of something worse.
Maybe a precursor of more disastrous killings that are coming.
And so government wouldn't tolerate this kind of talk from any terrorist organization.
It is the duty of the government to sit down and find out the nitty-gritty of this problem and solve it.
Once and for all.
Once and for all.
But you remembered, Luke, that it goes back to even before '84. After, you know, scores of years of peaceful coexistence, something happened. It might be the whole advancement in tin mining that you were speaking about, but something happened. And it's gone bad. So that these people, their operation is quite frankly no different from that of terrorists, even as they are herdsmen. In fact, there was a time when people were being asked to be circumspect, perhaps automatically thinking of Fulani herdsmen might not be very, very helpful. But all of these were just seen, as we've used the word several times this morning, as sophistry, quite frankly, for what is going on.
Now, just a few weeks ago, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, there was a news from Ghana that some people, Fulani, took their cattle and they were grazing on, on the road or something like that. And the Ghanaian president said, this is not allowed in Ghana. If you want to graze on the roads, go to Nigeria.
Can you imagine?
Yes, the Ghanaian president said that.
Yeah.
He said, this place is not Nigeria where cattle can graze anywhere. So, the question is, as I keep saying it, there is a problem. The government is aware. I don't agree that the government doesn't know. I don't agree.
Government is in the business of intelligence, gathering and information.
If doesn't know what is happening, then we are all in trouble.
Indeed. Yakub in Dokwemu, good morning, sir.
Yeah, it's a very good morning, sir.
Thank you for calling in.
And then good morning to your guests.
Thank you.
Let me begin by saying in our own dialect, Yoruba proverb says that if you never give a dirty slap to your siblings, the people that live in your house will always look down on you. Why am I saying that? The Miyetti Allah of a thing. You see, to solve this situation is very easy. Now, the question we should ask is that, do we know the people that are killing or not? Yes, there are traces. The issue is this. The Miyetti Allah Chairman Association called to the same studio yesterday, the training program that I normally watch as well. Journalists found out. They asked some question, and then he deferred out some question, and then he ran away. And then the question is this. He says because they lost some 100 cows, that is now, they are now retaliating and killing almost 200 plus. Chief Larry,
the police admit 86, 87.
You see, Chief Larry, if the journalists give you a number of 50, something should tell you this more than that. See, Chief Larry, if Mr. President, I'm not telling Nigerians. You know, I love this president so much. If Mr. President tells Nigerians that the politician is trying to take the advantages of the station, he gives the room for that. Mr. President should never give room for that, for the politician to take the advantages of this issue. If you don't want politicians to take the advantage of this issue, you should go on and beat down those people that kill people like how. Why am I saying that? Chief Jari, I can tell you, in the days coming, maybe in the next 2, 3, or 4 days coming out, you will see police and military officials. They will get some of these people arrested in number, like 20, like 30 or 50 as case may be. And then when they finally charge them to court, And then when the court pronounced that these people should go to jail or they should maybe the drastic measure take against them, maybe die by hanging or whatever. Because anybody takes somebody's life, we know what the Nigerian Constitution says about that person. And then the final judgment is not coming out. The same governor of that state will never sign the letter to kill those people because they take the life of the fellow Nigerians. They will not say that I will not be party to sign the people because I am a Nigerian, I'm a governor. Why are we doing this? In as much as we are doing injustice to our people, this killing will ever continue. What will take the Nigerian government to pronounce these people terrorists? If you can pronounce an IPOB terrorist, they have never killed, they have never taken somebody's life. The issue is that they raise the flag in the sovereign state, and then you pronounce them terrorists. Please, Mr. President, we love you so much. I love you so much. Go ahead and carry the thing that the Nigerians give it to you. Pronounce these people terrorists. If you cannot pronounce them terrorists, then go.
Okay, thank you very much, Yakub, for calling in. And it was occurring to me as Yakub was speaking that Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari, he's quite frankly beautifully placed to address this problem. Much more so than anybody else, any other president we've had.
Exactly.
He's a Fulani himself.
Yes, he's a general.
He's a general. He's a grand patron of Mayati Allah. He's a nationalist. He's a patriot.
Yes.
And any other. So when the president comes at the matter, when and if he so decides to do, it will be seen for what it is that will be dealing with the facts, as opposed to anybody else where you begin to now bring sentiment to bear on the whole issue. Mr. President can be trusted to be decisive, fair, just, plain, truthful on this whole matter. But for the moment, Mr. President seems to be adopting the counsel of let's be patient about this. Let's be careful about this.
You see, the issue is this. There is nobody, no agency that is that having access to information as much as the authority or government. Now, if this is the case, I can tell you, if there are 10 factors or reasons that are causing all these things, the president will be aware of at least 80% of it. That is the truth of the matter. But they will not, except they don't want to act or want to deceive ourselves. And again, like the last statement, the statement of the Shiroma of a person is into two. If you go to the last one, that how can there be peace?
How can there be peace?
Threat.
It's quite frankly,
a threat to
that is the
national,
way governments would interpret that kind of an utterance.
National security. And by now, one would have expected the person to have been invited by DSS and for interrogation and some other things for further steps. Because if they said the first statement of a thief is the correct one. You say, I will do something for you, you won't forget. This is the thing, the man has said it. So.
Okay, Pat is in Egbeda and wants to join this conversation. Good morning, Pat.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Yori.
Thank you for calling in, Pat.
And good morning to your guest in the studio.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Please, if you think that Mr. President will say so, Mr. President will never react. The only day Mr. President will react, the day they will start killing Fulani herdsmen. That is the day you will hear Mr. President will begin to react. If he expects him to react now, he can never, because they are his blood brothers. He can never, ever react now. Except when if you want him to react, except when they start killing Fulani herdsmen. That you will see when you will see his reaction. Okay,
all right then. Thank you very much for calling in. Again, this is part of the frustration, in this whole conversation, that because people don't know why things are moving this slowly.
I want to say something again. We talk of security, national security, and security agencies. What do we mean? When we say this, we mean the police. Then we mean the army that is called when there is already the oil has been poured away and people have died. Now, one thing that we are lacking that no government has, agreed to do is grassroots security, which should be in this state police we are talking about. But unfortunately, this matter has come up, it has been debated and the rest of them, but it seems that the government again, is not willing to allow that. Because, you know, Nigeria is a very large country. As we are here in Lagos, there was a day I went to Ibejuleki. When I got there, I was asking, is this place part of Lagos? They say it's part of Lagos.
What?
It's a rural, completely rural community, no road, no light, no nothing.
Yes.
Now, the police we have, they are here in central Lagos, mainland, island, and the rest of them. But when you get into such places, there is no security.
I don't know what...
So can the government allow this state police? Because they are the people that we know everybody, kind of.
Okay, let me bring in Mazi Okoroafo in Abia as our last caller. Good morning, Mazi.
Good morning, Sayodi. Good morning, our guests in the studio.
Thank you.
Good morning.
The souls of those people that were killed, there is a perfect peace. You see,
Amen.
Plateau massacre was preventable if we normally take actions when there is rumor. Because there's no rumor that flies up. It's just that we neglect anything, we just say, I beg, just keep it there. This is the handwork of extremism going on in what we see in Syria, Afghanistan, Iraq. It's what we are seeing now today. Now, like what people are saying now, you see, we take symptoms in Nigeria instead of taking the causes. If Nigerian government, whether it's Plateau, Taraba, any benefit, that should go back and see that, let them bring the youth of whether Fulani, Meatal, or waiting at the youth of any environment, let them sit down with the Fulani, Meatal, and let's sit down and talk. This is the first solution we have to look into, because this one we are trying, everybody blowing hot, military blowing hot, police blowing hot, will not solve Nigerian problem. We can solve this problem. It's just a round table answer. Because the area we find solution to this issue, the better. You see, after the Civil War in East, the problem is still going on. If you come to Harusuku, the Itu people are still having problem with Cross River up to today. As I'm talking to you now, go to Okoja side in the Ebo State. They are still having problem. These are the resultant effects of the Civil War that happened as far back as over 30 years. So all this is still have reoccurrence. We have to find a lasting solution. I told my students in 2001, I said, look, don't allow any crisis to happen. If it happens, it will not happen in the end. Thank you very much. Have a blessed day in Lagos.
Thank you very much for calling in, Mazi. And we've run out of time now. But I suppose it goes back to that old chestnut of Nigerian politics and polity. That whole matter about whether we, what is that? The will to do that which needs to be done.
Political will to do something.
Political will to do that which needs to be done. We can't lose hope. Someone called in and says this is getting to be a hopeless situation, but we can't lose hope that finally the right thing will be done. Yeah. The president did it in a totally different context the other day when he brought forward people that needed to be honored, who had been cheated, and it was surprising.
That is to show that when government wants to do something,
when they want to do something, they can do something.
That problem has been there since 1993.
Thank you very much.
And it took many Nigerians.
This one decided to deal with it for once and for all.
Once and for all. So that problem is sorted out. You know. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Luke Onyekeke.
Thank you.
And thank you also, Mr. Kabir Akingbulu.
Thank you very much.
Really appreciate your perspectives, gentlemen. So that's our program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.